Did you know the average American home has about 300,000 items inside? Yes, 300,000. That's a lot of stuff, and it's no surprise that people are feeling overwhelmed. In fact, studies show that 54% of people say they feel stressed by their clutter. It turns out, all that stuff we think we need is actually weighing us down in ways we don't even realize. I used to be caught in the cycle of buying more, keeping more, and constantly managing more. But one day, I decided to quit, and it changed everything. In this video, I'm going to share 6 things I quit to simplify my life and reduce the chaos around me. Ready to take back your time and space? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to start making your life easier, happier, and more focused, without sacrificing anything that truly matters. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. Goodbye to mindless consumerism. Curating my life, not my stuff. When I first started simplifying my life, I realized I was drowning in things I didn't really need. Did you know the average person spends about $1,500 a year on impulse purchases alone? I found myself buying things just because they were on sale or because I thought they would complete my home. But after taking a step back, I noticed how much unnecessary stuff was cluttering up my space and my mind. I decided to stop mindlessly consuming. Instead, I started curating my possessions, choosing only the things that truly added value to my life. It's not about having less for the sake of it, it's about having more of what matters. Studies back this up. According to the American Psychological Association, people who own fewer things report feeling less stressed and more in control. That was my experience, too. By focusing on quality over quantity, I created a more peaceful environment that allowed me to focus on what truly mattered. This strategy isn't about deprivation, it's about intentional living. The next time you're tempted to buy something, ask yourself, does this add real value to my life? If the answer is no, it's time to walk away. Letting go of consumerism can be one of the most freeing decisions you'll ever make. Chapter 2. Unsubscribing from the noise. Digital detox for a clearer mind. In a world where we're constantly bombarded by notifications, emails, and social media, it's no wonder that so many of us feel mentally drained. I realized I was spending hours a day scrolling through endless feeds, checking my inbox, and absorbing information I didn't even care about. It was time to unsubscribe from the noise. I started by decluttering my digital space. I unsubscribed from email lists, unfollowed accounts that didn't align with my values, and turned off most notifications. According to a study by the American Psychological Association, constant digital distractions can reduce productivity and increase stress. So, I made a conscious decision to be more mindful about how I spent my time online. This digital detox didn't happen overnight. It took time to create new habits, but the results were immediate. I felt less anxious and more focused. Now, when I check my phone, it's with intention, only for things that truly matter. Taking control of your digital life can lead to a clearer, more focused mind. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all the noise, consider doing a digital declutter. Trust me, it's worth it. Chapter 3. Breaking up with busy. The art of saying no. We're all guilty of saying yes too often. Whether it's to social events, work commitments, or even family obligations, we tend to overcommit and fill our schedules until we're burnt out. I used to do this all the time. But one day, I realized that by constantly saying yes, I was saying no to the things that truly mattered. Saying no is a skill, and it's one that can simplify your life in an instant. According to a study by the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology, people who set boundaries and say no are more satisfied with their lives. This really resonated with me. The moment I started saying no to non-essential things, I found more time for the things that brought me joy and fulfillment. It wasn't always easy, but I started prioritizing my time. If an invitation or request didn't align with my goals or values, I simply said no. And I learned that saying no doesn't mean being rude, it means respecting your time and energy. If you're tired of running on empty, take a step back and evaluate where your time is going. Saying no isn't a bad thing. It's a powerful way to protect your time and your peace of mind. If you're finding these tips helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos on simplifying your life and living intentionally. Chapter 4. Decluttered relationships. Choosing quality over quantity in today's world, it's easy to think that the more friends we have, the better. But I realized something powerful. Quantity doesn't always equal quality. When I decided to stop spreading myself thin with endless acquaintances, I was able to build stronger, deeper relationships. There's a famous saying by Jim Rohn: "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This hit me hard. I needed to prioritize people who lifted me up, not drained me. I started to be more intentional about who I spent my time with. It wasn't about cutting people off, but about creating space for the relationships that really mattered. Studies back this up. According to the American Psychological Association, spending time with positive, supportive people can reduce stress and increase happiness. On the flip side, toxic relationships can elevate cortisol levels, leading to chronic stress and burnout. Letting go of negativity has been one of the most freeing decisions I've made. Choosing fewer, but deeper connections has also made it easier for me to focus on the people who truly care. Instead of spending time with a large group of acquaintances, I invest in friendships that are reciprocal and real. It's been a game changer. Chapter 5. Letting go of perfection. Embracing progress over flawlessness. We've all heard the phrase, "Perfection is the enemy of progress." Yet, so many of us, myself included, spend years chasing an ideal that is almost impossible to achieve. The moment I let go of perfectionism, my life simplified in ways I never imagined. First, I stopped waiting for the perfect moment to take action. For years, I hesitated to start projects because I thought they needed to be perfect before I could begin. But perfectionism often leads to procrastination. In fact, studies show that 20% of people are chronic procrastinators, mainly because they're paralyzed by the fear of not doing something perfectly. Instead, I embraced progress. As the book The War of Art by Steven Pressfield says, resistance will tell you that your work is not good enough, that you need more time, more research, more everything. Don't listen. This simple mindset shift made all the difference. By focusing on progress over perfection, I learned to accept that making mistakes is part of the process. It's okay to fall short sometimes. What matters is showing up and learning along the way. I also started to celebrate small wins instead of waiting for big achievements that might never come. One unique fact. A study published in Psychological Science found that embracing mistakes actually leads to greater creativity and innovation. When you stop obsessing over doing things flawlessly, you allow room for experimentation and new ideas. Letting go of perfectionism meant quitting my endless desire for approval. I no longer worried about whether others would think my work was perfect. This freedom made me more confident, allowing me to take risks without fearing judgment. Chapter 6. Rethinking ownership. The freedom of letting things go. A major part of simplifying my life was rethinking the concept of ownership. I realized I didn't need to own everything to enjoy it. In fact, letting go of the need to possess material things gave me a sense of freedom I had never experienced before. There's a quote by author and minimalism advocate Joshua Becker that really resonated with me. The less we own, the less we have to worry about. And that's exactly what happened. By owning fewer things, I was able to free up both physical space and mental energy. In the past, I thought owning more would make me happy. But I learned that consumerism often leads to clutter, both in our homes and in our minds. In fact, research from UCLA found that people with more clutter in their homes have higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol. I started to rethink what I truly needed. Do I really need a large wardrobe of clothes, or could I make do with a few quality pieces? Do I need every gadget on the market, or is it enough to have the essentials? By reducing my material possessions, I not only simplified my living space but also my mental space. Interestingly, a study by the National Association of Home Builders found that the average American home has tripled in size over the past 50 years, but most people don't report being happier. In fact, owning fewer things has been shown to increase happiness and life satisfaction. Letting go of things that didn't serve me was one of the most freeing steps I took in my minimalist journey. It taught me that happiness doesn't come from what you own, but from how you live and what you value most. And that, in itself, was a profound shift. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on simplifying your life, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join the journey.